in the building. We about to get this thing started. So tonight's show is gonna be a little different than normal. We're gonna talk about some other stuff besides the usual stuff. Cause I'm burnt out on the usual stuff. I'm sure y'all probably are too. That usual stuff gets to be a bit of a strain sometimes. However, what I'm gonna talk about tonight is gonna tie into the usual stuff because I'm just gonna show you a couple of parallels, show you how things tend to play out dealing with the human mind and how we all kind of get caught up in the melee without even realizing or thinking about it. Hello, Alfreda and Val. I appreciate y'all checking in. Thank you very much. So let's get this thing cranked off, y'all. Stand by.
Door number 2 or door number 3.
Oh, wow. Oh, all right, okay, all right. No, wait, okay, wait, okay. All right, no, wait. Oh, wait, mine. Door number 1, 3, 2, 8. No, wait, hold on.
So I woke up this morning, right? And I had this, it's funny when you wake up early in the morning, this was one of them 4, 5 in the morning kind of deals. And sometimes when I wake up at that time in the morning, it's like my mind is the most active and I get the most creative and I think about things around the same time. So I woke up this morning and I got to thinking about the human mind, if you will, and the way we deal with information, right? And the funny thing is that we all process information. We're only able to really process it based on our own ideas and the way we view the world. And the way we view the world has a lot to do with our own environment and the way we were brought up and the way we think about things. Hey, Tania, thank you for checking in. So the deal is this. I got to thinking to myself, a friend of mine told me a whole bunch of years ago, he said, when you learn to understand people, it makes it easier for you to deal with them. And what that means is that, for example, we listen to people, especially right now, we're in an election time. We're in a time where politically there's so much stuff going on that we get caught up in it. And a lot of people emotions run real high. A lot of people's way of believing things, they kind of, dig in and they double down on what their ideas and their thoughts are. Nothing wrong with that because that's the way we, that's the way we operate as human beings. We believe what we believe. And that's what this show is about. This show is about the mind wanting what it wants, despite everything else, regardless of what the possibilities are, what we think could be or might not be. We still want what we want, and our minds operate in that capacity all the time. So I ended up watching a series with some information in it this morning, and it got me to thinking along this same line. And subsequently, today, a gentleman in one of my Facebook groups put up a question. And the question was, in your opinion, and I want y'all to think about this now, in your opinion, which is more important, perception or reality? Now, that's a hell of a thing to think about when you really when you start to put that into perspective. Which one holds the most weight with you, perception or reality? Now, my answer to that was this. One can be as constructive or destructive as the other. And I have to say that the value of one over the other and its application have everything to do with the circumstances. Because if you think about it, how many times have we perceived something that was nothing like what we thought it was because we all know that perception is really rooted, or at least we should know, is rooted in empirical evidence. Mr. Miles, I see you. Thank you, Ram Khan, for stopping in. I see you. Hey, Riri. You know, these things are rooted in the evidence that we have in front of us, empirical evidence, the evidence that we think based on our own experiences and what we know and what we see. We believe that what we are seeing, you know, it allows us to think a certain way about what's in front of us, despite whatever reality might actually be the thing or what it is. So, and then you have to think of it this way. How many times do people actually, Big Nate, I see you, brother. Thank you for checking in. How many times do people actually draw their conclusions from facts? I mean, right now, we're in a political season where people are operating off of their feelings more than they are the facts. We have a supposed leader in the people's house of these United States who rarely, if ever, operates out of facts. And because facts do not benefit his story, it doesn't benefit his what it is that he's trying to do. So he operates like many people do. He's no different. And this is where it comes into understanding people and the way they do things. Hey, Denise, I see you. Yes, I got my hair cut. He operates in what he wants to happen and manipulates things in that very way. The average person doesn't operate from a factual orientation. The average person does operate in what we want. Rarely do we let reality, and I'm going to say rarely, I'm just talking about the human condition. Rarely do people allow their decision-making process to be based in facts and reality. It has more to do with the way we feel about things. Then it says perception is your personal reality until you have gained actual facts. Absolutely right. But people want what they want. Doesn't matter what the potential outcome could be. Because if you think about it, you know, people hope against hope. They pray. They speak it into existence, and all manner of other ways of wanting things to be the way they want it to be. People often return to things hoping that somehow it'll change just because in their mind they want it to be different than the way it was. We want things, you know, we want it to bend to our will. We want people to bend to our will. It's part of the human condition. And that brings me to where I am with this. The human mind is often and always very pliable. Amazingly enough, a lot of people believe that they are set in their way of doing certain things, but the fact is, people are often swayed by empirical evidence or things that they perceive versus the actual facts. We draw a lot of conclusions in this life based on the information in front of us, whether or not it is factual or not, especially when we are forced to make a decision with some immediacy. See, but here's the thing. You have to be careful about that sort of information. And I'm going to give you a great example of that. Thank you, Kim Shelton. I appreciate that. That's my barber, Tootie J, straight out of Chicago, right here in San Antonio. Okay, look, let me break it down for y'all like this. There are women in the world. Now, I don't want y'all ladies jumping on me about this, but I'm going to tell y'all straight up. See, one of these days, I'm going to put a book out about women in the way y'all do things. I'm going to get beat up for that one. But think of it this way. There are plenty of situations, and I'm going to use women, but we know that it happens to men too, where they may get into a situation with a guy and he may say, hey, look at here. I ain't really interested in nothing else. And you know, y'all women are always hollering about you want a man to be honest. Be honest. Just tell me straight up what you want. And the man might say, hey, look, I ain't trying to really be in this. I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking for a sexual relationship. I want to do the thing with you, you dig? We can hang out and that type of thing right there. Is it all good? And she may agree to it. Let's just say more often than not, women do agree to these things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not a judge. I ain't got no heaven or hell to put nobody in. And I say, folks is grown. Do you. Do your thing, whatever that is. However, you know, the man, he make her feel good. He take her out a few times, hang out, kick it, do what you do. And it'd be a good, you know, it's all good. But he always behaves like, you know, a perfect gentleman. He's a good guy. He does everything the right way, you know, make her feel some kind of way and all of that. But maybe in her experience, all the men that have treated her that way were men that she actually cared about, or men that cared about her. And she feel like, well, damn, he treated me like this. Shoot, I must be more to him than just a sex partner. See, this is where the wires start to get crossed. It's not that he turned around and said, hey, look, we could be more than this. It's just that the way he made her feel because of his behavior made her feel like it's more than that. Well, no, it ain't necessarily more than that. It's just that that's the way he made her feel. So now she starts reading into something more than what it is. So now her perception is that that's her man. That's her guy. That's the dude that, you know what I'm saying, is treating her some kind of way, taking her out and making her feel good. She wants more. Not that he said he wanted more, but just because of the way he's treating her. See, now she's operating off that empirical evidence. She's operating off of evidence of what she believes in her mind to be a good thing in regard to where that man is concerned. But then he says, hey, look, you know what? It's been fun, but I got to run. Now she's mad. She's salty. Why she salty? Well, because in her mind, she felt like, you know, this was more than that. He never took back the words that he said, never changed anything. He just decided, you know what I'm saying, it was time to go. And then based on her feelings, not facts, what he told her from day one, this is all I want. That wasn't good enough. So, again, you know, sometimes people, you know, they hope against hope, pray, and do all sorts of other things so that the universe bends to their will, so that they get what they want. Sometimes things ain't meant to be that way. You know, people tend to buy into ideas if they're presented to them over and over and over again. You ever recognize how sometimes people will take an idea and they'll continue to drive it home? This is kind of how advertising works. They say if you see or hear something 7 times or more repeatedly, you tend to remember it as product recognition, or recognition of something, so that you start to buy into it more and you think that, okay, yeah, this must be some good stuff because I keep hearing about it. And that's kind of the same way other things work, not just in the world of advertising, but, you know, in the con world. A lot of people don't understand when you hear the term con man. Then it says, we agree to be just friends with benefits, but as time goes by, she develops a perception that this is marriage material and she is pissed when with a woman's scorn. Exactly. Now, in the world that we live, we deal with con. You hear the word con. People think con is the actual word. Con is not the word, but it is confidence is why they use the word con. Con is the first part of the word confidence. And the confidence is that they gain your confidence with the intention of making you believe one thing or another in order to switch that around. After they gain your confidence, then they manipulate the information and it fits the narrative that makes you believe whatever they want you to believe. And sometimes some people are more manipulative about it and they're better at it than others. But people tend to operate this way. Even smart people get caught up in it. You have to be a cautious and suspicious person, more or less, to avoid it on a more regular basis. But here's the thing. People who run cons and people who use these sorts of tactics in order to gain what it is that they're trying to do, they often use separation as a tactic. They want to separate you from other people. They want to separate you from other information. That way they become the person that you are confident in, so that they can operate their narrative the way they want it to be done. Abusers always work towards separating the abused from those who would support them. Like, unfortunately, I mean, it's sad that I say this, but the fact is, we all know somebody who's been abused and who abuser has done everything in their power to manipulate that person to get them away from their support system, to get them away from individuals that have their best interest at heart, so that they can operate and manipulate a person and bend them to their will. In other words, the predator always separates the prey from the herd. How many times have we seen this? The whole idea here is for them to make themselves a savior, make themselves appear to be the hero, and create and make it so that everyone else is the problem. They are the ones who make themselves out to be the one that came along to save the person from everyone else. It's a savior mentality, and we have talked about the savior mentality on this show more than a few times. And of course, here's my shameless plug. When you get your copy of The Black Factor, you'll find within one of the chapters where I talk about the savior mentality and how everyone is waiting. And Dennis McCullum said, pimp mentality, absolutely. See, everybody is kind of waiting for that savior. Everybody is kind of waiting for somebody to come along and make it better. You know, people struggle with helplessness. People struggle with the ability to function sometimes on their own without that person to come along and kind of, with the ladies, sweep them off their feet, and the men, unfortunately, there's a lot of man children running around who are always looking for that one female that's got the good job, that's doing well, to take care of him and pay some bills. You know, it's lightweight, what I call po pimping, what we call in the South po pimping. See, I learned about po pimping in Memphis. See, before that movie, I can't think of the name of the movie, came out with the dude there was the pimp, and he was broke, and he had 2 or 3 little stragglers he was running around with. You dig? Before that movie ever came out, I swear I know a couple of guys that movie could have been about them. It's amazing. But everybody wants somebody to come along and kind of take away the pain and the strain and the agony of life. And there are people, these narcissists, who always are looking for that, that's it, hustle and flow. Thank you, Dennis. They're looking for that victim. They're looking for that next person that they can manipulate. And the crazy part is, for every one of them that's out there, there's somebody else. There's probably more people looking for that very guy to come along and sell them a dream. See, and this is what I mean by the mind wanting what it wants. When a person tells you that they're going to give you or provide you the things that you want, whether they're capable of doing it or not, you want to believe it. You want to believe it because you want someone to give you what it is that you want. You inevitably then become a victim. Is it a victim of them, or are you a victim of yourself? Let me put it like this. For many years, I have always told women, don't ever tell a man what you expect. Don't ever tell a man what you really want from him. And here's why. You're setting yourself up for failure. You basically have provided this guy with the blueprint to who you are and what you are and what you are. And blueprints are used for two things. The main thing that a blueprint is used for is for building things. Now, do you want him to build you up and make you something? Or are you already there? Or they're also used to destroy things. Blueprints are used to take things apart. So if you've given him all the information that he needs to either build you up or take you apart, are you taking a chance on which one he may or may not do? When you let him know what your needs are, he doesn't ever have to really work to know you. You've already told him what he is. All he got to do is play the role, stick to the script that you gave him to play. One day he's going to tire out, though, and he's going to break character. But here's the bad part. When he breaks character, if you believed in him and the role that he was playing, he's who he's supposed to be, and he changes, and he goes back to being who he actually is, you're going to say, you changed. You're not the man I met. No, he was never that dude. He became who you wanted him to be so that your mind could get what it wanted. You have to allow a man who was meant to be with you to find out who you are. And he's either going to be what it is that you need and want, or he is not. Cannot make someone be something that they are not. You created a role for that person. A role for them to play, just like in a movie. But now he done jumped out of character, and you mad. Being angry at him would be similar to you watching a Denzel Washington movie. And you love that character that Denzel is playing. But then one day you run across Denzel and you meet him in the street and you expect him to behave like that character and he doesn't. And you're angry with him. You can't be angry with him. He was playing a role. He was playing a character. You can't get mad at him for playing a character. Everybody wants what they want. And some people are willing to go further than others and willing to live in a false sense of security in order to get it, which is unfortunate. But going back to the people who are very similarly like the con men, the pimps, and those who would manipulate others, they're a narcissistic bunch, right? Narcissistic people want what they want too. They're willing to do a little more to get what they want than the average person. People see narcissists as being the ones who can provide the means to obtain their desires. Narcissists are arrogant, they're bold, and they're bold enough to gain the attention of others, and they're bold enough to say the things that only other people are thinking. They have ulterior motives. They'll do what others want. They'll say what others want, and it doesn't matter how far-fetched these things are. Most people don't like narcissists. But what's funny is a lot of people gravitate toward them. That's the amazing part. It's unfortunate that smart people often get caught up with narcissists, and they get caught up with pimps, and they get caught up with people who have the mentality, the savior mentality. And smart people get caught up with these people all the time. But it has more to do with their feelings than facts, and they want what they want. So when these people stand up and they promise you things and they say things and you want it, well, you tend to gravitate toward them. they become dangerous. They're sociopaths. Hitler, Stalin, Kim Jong-il, Saddam Hussein, Donald Trump, the list goes on. And they all have done very similar things. They divide and they manipulate. Con men to the highest level. Narcissists are very talented. Some people look at them and say, oh my God, they're so special. Look at what they're saying. Look at what they're doing. It makes it hard for to convince other people that these people are not what they seem to be. They want utter power, they want control, and they want what they want as well. Am I starting to paint a familiar picture for you of what I'm talking about? Check this out. A commune, and this is where we talked about some of this yesterday. We were making jokes about it, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. A commune in Jonestown, Guyana, where more than 900 members of the People's Temple committed suicide in November of 1978. The Reverend Jim Jones urged his disciples to drink cyanide-laced grape punch. Jim Jones' goal was to create an egalitarian, utopian community. In other words, he made all of those people whom he manipulated, who he separated, conned, and manipulated, drink the Kool-Aid. On the 19th of April, 1993, David Koresh, leader of the destructive branch of Davidian cult, died after a 51-day FBI siege of the ranch. He and his followers were occupying near the town of Waco, Texas. 79 people, including children, also lost their life when the place was burnt down. The FBI had been suspecting the cult, a breakaway group from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, of hiding weapons on the compound and sexually abusing many of its youngest members. Now, let's keep in mind that also Jim Jones was guilty of some of these very exact same activities. Basically molesting small children and manipulating and separating individuals. This is that narcissism and that savior mentality. In March of '97, the group called Heaven's Gate carefully planned and then executed a mass suicide, timed it to coincide with the arrival of the Hale-Bopp comet, which members thought would conceal the alien spacecraft on its way to Earth. Clad in black tunics and Nikes, 39 Heaven's Gate members ate applesauce mixed with a sedative, chased it with vodka, covered their heads in plastic bags, and died. 9 of the 18 men, including Applewhite, had been surgically castrated. He convinced these people that they no longer needed their sex organs, genitalia, if you will. As the group mandated celibacy, an upbeat videotaped message made the members prior to the suicide indicated that they were willing, even happy to die and move on to the next level. Now, I said all of that to say this. A particular behavior in regard to individuals' narcissism and willingness to con, and our willingness to seek saviors all the time, which we do constantly. Michael Samsonite, I see you, my brother. Thank you for checking in. Mr. Holmes, good to see you. We have to keep in mind that these same ideologies we deal with on a daily basis. And here's what I mean by that. Right now, we're in an election cycle, like I said earlier. So I brought all of these things forward to point out that while we get upset about people who intend to vote in a particular direction, what we need to understand is that people are easily manipulated when they have an agenda of what they want and someone appears to be able to give it to them. I recall, Dennis McCullum, you are absolutely correct, and this is exactly where I'm headed with this. Trump is leading his base to go down with him. If you all recall the chants 4 years ago, I'm going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. No matter how ridiculous that sounded, no matter how insane and asinine that idea was, there are people who wanted to believe that that was true, and so therefore they put their confidence in an individual who made them believe that as a savior, he would bring forth in actual real time what they were feeling and thinking. He was saying what they were only thinking. Here we are at a place where a narcissistic con man, wannabe savior, has placed our entire existence in this country in jeopardy. I have tried to find the differences between him and those three mass murderers, and I've not been able to do that. We are currently in this country counting off so far 137,000 deaths over a virus that we could have easily gained control over. But someone's narcissistic behavior, who in fact today went into Atlanta, where they have passed ordinances where you must wear a mask, and broke the law. And of course, we know he did that deliberately because he knew that no one would stop him. Anissa James, how are you today? Thank you for checking in. I see you, Cynthia. He knew that he would not be stopped. So here we are dealing with what essentially is a cult leader. There are people who don't care in the least what he does, good, bad, or indifferent, because they believe in their exalted leader. They believe in their leader. The same way the people at Waco, out in California, that was the Heaven's Gate folks, and the Jonestown, Guyana, Jim Jones group. All of these men who had deep psychological, personal issues created a way to take everyone who believed in them down with them. Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnessing the very same behavior all over again. Except this time, this man is what is considered to be the most powerful individual in the world currently. That is one scary ass notion. But it is what it is. And I hope that, unlike many of my friends, associates, and acquaintances who seem to believe that voting is somehow unnecessary or that we are exercising our willingness to be continuously enslaved, all I can say is what I am tired of is all of these shots and jokes and BS that go on and no solutions. I have grown weary of some of the things that I'm seeing, and I've said it before, and I will say it again. One thing about this pandemic, one good thing that has come out of this pandemic is that a whole lot of folks have exposed themselves. Now, I'm gonna say this much. I'm pretty familiar with my demographic. The things I say because they are part of commentary. They are a part of my writings, things that I've been doing for many, many years. This didn't just start yesterday. It didn't just start with this video blog. I've been doing this. And the things I say are better for me in my businesses, and the things that I do, where other people, kind of like the Karens of the world, go out here and make political commentary and say things that are hurting them financially and that make them side-eye worthy. Now, I'm not saying people should bite their tongue, but I am saying some folks need to learn to stay in their lane. I'm in my lane. But at the end of the day, I will continue at every opportunity to bring information forward to those of you who will continue to allow me to impart information to you that allows you to grow in every way possible. And I will always say, don't ever believe everything you hear come out of my mouth. I generally will tell you what's my opinion and what is fact. All I'm going to say is this: look it up for yourself. My only job here is to plant seeds, and that's what I do. I just want to give you some food for thought and an opportunity to look into some things that could very well be to your benefit or to someone around you benefit, your children even. We yesterday on here we talked about what the education thing is going to look like coming up, with everybody supposedly being forced into these school systems. Anissa James, absolutely. Say, you've been doing this. Shoot, when I first met you in the ATL, was sharing it then. Absolutely. Thank you, sister. See, somebody to know a little bit about my history. We talked about the school system on yesterday. And, it occurred to me early this morning that rather than make this some sort of a bad thing, my personal opinion, this is literally a teachable moment. This is literally an opportunity for us to take our children's education to a higher level, to take it to a better place. I mean, it kind of occurred to me. I'm like, wow, I really didn't think of it that way, but now that I'm thinking about it, there's so much for our kids to learn, and there's so much for us to teach them. Dang it, there's something that I want to bring to your attention. Okay, here it is. Think about this right here. Why did we learn in school? Now I want somebody put this. This was a meme I found on Facebook, and it says, "It's no accident that." And it's amazing how I think about stuff and stuff just falls across my timeline. Like and stuff that comes to me, it's just amazing. And I appreciate the fact that people put this stuff out here. Lisa Juarez says, I believe due to the leader we have, there is so much anger in the world. Never have I seen so much evil. I agree 100%. You're absolutely right. But now look, y'all, educationally speaking, listen to this. It's no accident that you learned about Helen Keller instead of W.E.B. Du Bois. You learned about the Watts riots and L.A. riots, but not Tulsa or Wilmington. You learned that George Washington dentures were made from wood rather than the teeth from slaves. You learned about black ghettos, but not Black Wall Street. You learned about the New Deal, but not redlining. You learned about Tommy Smith's fist in the air at the 1968 Olympics, but not that he was sent home the next day and stripped of his medals. You learned about black crime, but white criminals were never lumped together and discussed in terms of their race. You learned about states' rights as the cause of civil war, but not that slavery was mentioned 80 times in the Articles of Succession. Privilege is having history rewritten so that you don't have to acknowledge the uncomfortable facts. Racism is perpetuated by people who refuse to learn or acknowledge this reality. See, again, perception versus reality. This is my whole point Right now, we are in an extremely teachable moment. We are at a time where we have the opportunity to give the education to our children properly. And in fact, learn some shit along the way. Because there's a lot of us, including myself, who don't know everything. And I'm still a work in progress, and I'm still learning every single day. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those times where you have an opportunity to not only learn, but to teach. Each and every one of us is an imam. In case you don't know what that means, that is a teacher. Each and every one of us has the ability to impart information to our fellow man, our people around us, to make us better. It's about time that history is taught properly. It's about time that the truth, rather than the perception, begins to come out. This is I can't even think of it. He's got to go to school. You should be saying, now I get to teach my children the truth. Now I get to teach my children the things that will actually sustain them in the world and not. See, y'all got to look at it this way. If you want to know what, really want to know the game board been flipped over, y'all. Somebody ran up in the middle of your game and flipped the board over. That's where we at right now. Somebody kicked the board over. So now it's time for us to take advantage of that. Anissa says, replying to Dennis McCullum, he can't. Most schools are state funded by property taxes, local sources, and a very small percentage comes from the federal government. Trump is an asshat. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. And that's why we talk about, and I have talked about on this show on more than one occasion, redlining and how we ended up with less money in our school systems based on the fact that they kept the property values down in particular areas where they made it, where they kept it where, you know, you couldn't get a home loan unless you bought within a certain area. See, all of this is no accident. And the more we understand about how this game has played out, the easier it is for us to learn to undo it. Nothing in this country was ever set up for us. Nothing. Nothing was set up for black people. Don't ever get that confused. What we're doing is fitting ourselves into a shoe that was never made for us to wear. So the board been flipped over. Where are my educators, my people who can have the ability and the knowledge and the wherewithal to create institutions of higher learning that direct education in the ways that it should be? Especially when we know all of the lies that have been taught and told and the perception that has been created. And it is the reality of many who don't know the truth. It's time, y'all. It's time to change the game. We have the opportunity right now, and we got a great excuse for doing it. One little virus has created an enormous amount of opportunity, and I say we take advantage of it. One martyr, Mr. George Floyd, has also provided us with a ton of opportunity. We are in the middle of what effectively looks like the perfect storm. We must take advantage of it. Thank you, Jacques Sanders. I appreciate that. Speaking of George Floyd, ladies and gentlemen, before I get out of here, apparently today, body cam video has been shown to some news outlets, but they have not released it to the public as yet. And I'm guessing that they're not going to release it to the public because if they do, it's going to create a big old doo-doo storm again. But apparently these videos are very damning. Not that we needed any other evidence, but these videos are very damning and in fact, very, very sad from what I've heard. So we'll see how that plays out. In the meantime, and in between time, I want to give y'all, I don't want you to forget my sponsors, Froth Naturals. This is, look, y'all, let me show y'all something. This shea butter. Look here. Y'all see that? That's whipped shea butter. Man, look. Boy, you talking about luxurious, Jack? Man, I love this stuff. Man, look, it keep a brother tight. Keep me from being ashy. Cause I've been ashy. Y'all check out my my sponsor. We're gonna put the information in the links. Now, I gotta give a special shout out to my girl Tara, Royalty LLC. Look, man, let me explain something to y'all. Not to get into, I'm about to break the HIPAA laws, right? Not to get into too much of my wife's personal business, but sometimes she suffers from a little bit of inflammation in her hands and that kind of thing. And she, you know, has taken all kinds of pharmaceuticals and all that other stuff to try and bring that down. But man, listen, the Marigold, look, Royalty LLC, the Marigold tea got it right. Oh, thank you, Rena. I appreciate you putting that up there. Froth Naturals, there it is. FrothNaturals.com. Renee put it up there. Rena put it up there. Y'all check that out. I'm telling you, this stuff is the bomb, man. I love it. Every morning, I'm lathering it. I keep it, you know, keep this pretty skin. You know what I'm saying? That's that Froth Naturals. Y'all need to get with that. Anyway, on the tea, ladies, you got any kind of inflammation, any type of like, any of that kind of stuff, man, y'all need to check out that Marigold. Now, the other flavors are good. The mint leaf and some of the other ones, because I've tried them all. They're great. Now, the Marigold is a little bit bitter. If you put a little bit of mint leaf in there to go with it, look here. I'm talking about that stuff works miracles. You got any kind of, it's a soothing, relaxing tea, and it's got Anissa, yeah, I'll get you that information. I'm running a little bit out of pocket today on my ads. I'll make sure you get that. But look, that tea is medicinally speaking, man, look. All I gotta say is, y'all know I won't bring nothing on this show. I won't advertise nothing that don't work. So just know that it twerks. It twerks well. Let me see. Okay. I just put that up there for you in the thing there. Yeah, Rena, thank you. You got the mango? Yeah, good deal. Okay, yeah. Man, this tea is the bomb. Y'all need to check it out. It's all loose leaf type tea, and you got to get the little strainer thing and all that. But trust me, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up out of here. But I want you all to keep in mind and think. Just think. Keep your heads up. Don't be manipulated. Don't be conned. Be naturally suspicious. Pay attention. Watch the way things play out. When people are talking, listen. Just listen. They'll tell you. They'll tell you and they'll tell on themselves. Just give them enough time. Don't give them the blueprint, though. Don't tell them how to do it. Just listen. All right. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening. I'm going down here and get me a snack. It's been real good. And like we always say, y'all love peace and chicken grease. Peace.
Door number 2 or door number 3.
Oh, wow. Oh, all right, okay, all right. No, wait, okay. All right, now, wait. Oh, wait, Monty. Door number 1, 3, 2, 8. No, wait, hold on.